So, today I'm actually not going to talk to you about trading right now. I'm going to talk to you about a bigger picture, and that is that you are never going to own a lot of Bitcoin unless you already do. Well, maybe you will, but the probabilities are very much against you, and here's why. Out of the 21 million Bitcoin that can ever be mined, 19.74 million Bitcoins have already been mined. And that, just to give you a point of reference, is about 94% of all the Bitcoin that can ever be mined. So, in the first 15 years and some months of its existence, 94% of all the Bitcoin that can ever be mined has been mined. And that means, of course, that for the next 116 years or so, until the very last of the 21 million Bitcoins are mined, which is about 1.26 million left to be mined, 1.26 million Bitcoins left to be mined. That is just 6% of all the Bitcoin that can ever be mined. And that will happen over the next 116 years, roughly. And what does that mean? Well, it means if you look at the on-chain analytics and you look at who's holding it, you will notice that at this point in time, 91% of all of the Bitcoin that can ever be mined is already in the hands of wallets that have 100 or more Bitcoin in them. And those wallets keep getting bigger. They keep accumulating more, and they're not spending any. If they're spending any, it's very minimal amounts. And usually people with large wallets have multiple wallets, and they have wallets for spending, and those wallets are usually quite small compared to the wallets they have for holding. And so effectively 91% of the Bitcoin is not going to be spent, or a very small percentage of it will, because it's already being held by basically the wealthiest people on earth. And as George Carlin said, it's a big club and you ain't in it. And I've been telling people forever on a Wednesday, don't be left out of this rush if you are interested in it. This is the future of finance. It is the future of value transactions. It is the future of accounting and all kinds of other things. And it is ridiculous that anybody still thinks that it's a scam or anything else. What it is a mathematical protocol that allows for value transfers to happen in an accountable way in a public ledger. And the whales and the banks and the governments and the central banks already control 91% of all that there can ever be. And that means, since there's only 6% left to mine, that of the 94% that can ever be mined, of the 94% that are already mined, out of the 100% that can ever be mined, 91% is in the hands of the big bags, and the other 3% are in the hands of retail traders, short-term holders, regular investors who are not super rich or wealthy. Okay? Or if they might be, but they don't have 100 or more Bitcoins in their wallets. And you can imagine that if you had many millions of dollars available to you, you might be considering owning 100 or more Bitcoin at this point if you haven't already. And so basically what that means is Bitcoin is absolutely not a decentralized coin anymore because it is in the hands of the few. As I've been warning you for many years that this would happen, and lo and behold, it happened, and no one should be surprised by that, because if you've been paying attention to what I've been telling you, the race is on, and they're going to grab it as quickly as possible. And I've been telling you now for months, since the ETFs launched, that they bought just the 9 biggest ETF firms in America, just they have bought more than 1 million Bitcoin in just the first 5 months of the year. And every month since then, they purchased another 100,000 among the whale wallets that have 1,000 or more Bitcoin in them. 100,000 Bitcoin a month in June, in July, and now in August. So when I tell you that Bitcoin is extremely rare, I mean it. And when I tell you that Bitcoin is a thing that the haves want, and they will do everything they can to get it, I mean it. And if you have any, and I've told you they want your Bitcoin, I mean it. They want not just that, because let's face it, 91% of all the potential Bitcoin ever, they already own. So basically they own it. 3% are held by retail, and that's 94% in total, and the other 6% have yet to be mined. And guess who's going to buy that 6%? You think it's going to be retail buyers buying up most of it over the next 116 years and never letting it go? Or do you think it's going to be whales? How much do you think is actually going to be left for regular retail investors in the next 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, 100 years, and so on? Basically nothing, right? The world population will be lucky if it gets to split just 1 million of them between them, right? That's just a fact. And you might not like it, but that's reality. Of course, there are other cryptocurrencies to have and to hold. They're not Bitcoin, but they are other cryptos. Some are better than others. But I just thought I'd bring you this very interesting on-chain information. That's it for now. Happy Bitcoining.